The Casket Procession, an emotional tribute to Hulk Hogan. The casket was draped in red and yellow, carried by giants The Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, and Flair. Each step heavy with history, each face carved with emotion. Hogan wasn't just a man, he was a movement, a stillness in the arena. For once there was no pyrotechnics, no entrance music, no chants, just silence. Inside the sold-out stadium, usually pulsing with the thunder of cheers and slams against the mat, a stillness had settled, an unfamiliar reverence that blanketed the crowd like fog. Fans stood shoulder to shoulder, many with tears streaking down painted faces. No one spoke. They didn't need to. At the end of the aisle, beneath a single spotlight lay the casket. It was massive, befitting the man it held. Draped in his iconic red and yellow colors, it shimmered softly under the lights. A folded bandana, carefully laid atop, rippled slightly in the breeze of the arena's air system. The bandana had once been wrapped around a forehead that had headlined decades of history. Then came the bearers, The Undertaker, stoic and composed, though a storm raged behind his eyes. Kane, who once feuded with him in fire and fury, now walked for him in grief. Big Show, tears silently cutting down his massive cheeks. Ric Flair, his white hair like a crown of memories, lips trembling. They carried not just a man, they carried an era, the immortal legacy. Hulk Hogan was more than a wrestler. He was a household name, a pop culture icon, a generational hero. For many, he was the first glimpse into the world of professional wrestling. To kids in the 80s and 90s, he wasn't just a performer, he was a superhero come to life. When Real American played through CRT televisions across the country, it meant something. It meant justice. It meant strength. It meant that good would prevail. And now, the man who once shook the earth by body slamming Andre the Giant was being lowered into it. In those early years, no one filled an arena like Hogan. He wasn't just a main event, he was the event. He made wrestling bigger than the ring. He brought it into the mainstream, into movies, into the collective soul of a generation that desperately needed heroes in Technicolor tights. But beyond the leg drops and flexing, there was Terry Bollea, the man behind the muscles. Flawed, human, real. This wasn't just the funeral of Hulk Hogan. It was the funeral of childhoods, of Saturday mornings, of action figures and finger-pointing showdowns. It was the funeral of an era, the final bell. As the casket approached center ring, a bell tolled. 10 times, slow, measured, painful. Each ring echoed not just through the arena, but through time. With every chime, memories unfurled like banners in the mind's eye. Hogan standing in the Silverdome, pointing at Andre with the fire of 1,000 suns. The electric roar of WrestleMania 6 as he passed the torch to the Ultimate Warrior. The shocking heel turn that birthed the NWO, redefining what heroes and villains looked like. That red and yellow comeback where Hulkamania rose again like a phoenix. And then the quieter moments, visiting children in hospitals, always staying in character. Consoling rookies backstage, laughing, telling stories, signing autographs until his hand cramped. For every slam in the ring, there was a softer legacy that fans seldom saw. A man who knew the weight of being larger than life and carried it for decades. Giants weep. As the pallbearers placed the casket beside the ring apron, a circle of legends gathered. Stone Cold Steve Austin biting his lip. John Cena, standing at attention like a soldier honoring a general. Triple H, eyes fixed on the mat. Randy Orton wiping his face with a towel, trying to be stone, but failing. Then came Vince McMahon, older, quieter, more fragile than the wrestling world remembered. He approached the mic, voice heavy. Without him, there's no us. Without him, we don't fill arenas. We don't headline Madison Square Garden. We don't believe. Hulk Hogan didn't just wrestle, he gave people hope. And for once, no boos, no cheers, just listening. The movement. There are rare individuals who transcend their field. Jordan in basketball, Ali in boxing, Elvis in music. In wrestling, it was Hogan. He carried the industry on his back at a time when it needed saving. He bled for it. He lived for it. He became it. He wasn't just red and yellow. He was the red, white, and blue. He was the crowd's roar. He was the poster on the wall, the action figure on the shelf, the memory etched into father-son bonding rituals. He taught millions that courage came from within, that we all had a little Hulkamania in us if we just believed hard enough. Even when controversies marred his later years, even when the world tried to turn the page, his presence loomed too large to ignore. Like a myth, like a mountain. Even gods fall, but movements live on. Fans speak. Outside the arena, the streets were flooded not with traffic, but with tributes. Fans wore bandanas, t-shirts with slogans like, "Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins." Some even brought homemade replica belts, raising them high in silent salute. A father and son both crying stood with a sign. My dad met him when he was 12, now I'm 12. Thank you, Hulk. Thousands sang his theme song quietly, together, like a hymn. One elderly fan in a weathered Hulkamania shirt from the 80s told a local reporter, "I met him once at a gas station in Tampa. He called me brother and paid for my coffee. I was 19, I'm 63 now. That was still the best day of my life." Another said, "He made me believe I was strong. When my mom died, I used to pretend I was Hogan to feel brave." These weren't just fans. These were people who'd carried Hulk Hogan inside them for decades. Passing the torch. As the service neared its end, John Cena stepped into the ring. He removed his cap, bowed his head, then raised it, speaking from the gut. There will never be another Hulk Hogan, but he gave us the blueprint to be larger than life, to fight for what's right, to lift others when we rise. And now, it's our turn. He raised one arm, palm open, then slowly cupped it to his ear. The arena, understanding, erupted. The roar wasn't noise, it was love. The exit. The casket was carried out the same way it came in by giants, but now each man walked with peace in their steps, with honor, with finality. Above them, the arena lights formed a single spotlight that followed the casket up the ramp. And then, a whisper on the screen. Hulkamania lives forever. And in a flash of red and yellow, darkness. Epilogue, the echo. Long after the casket procession faded, the echo remained. In gyms, in backyards, in arenas. In the hearts of every child who once pointed a finger at their enemy and shouted, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" In truth, the answer is simple. We're going to remember. We're going to honor. We're going to believe. Because Hulk Hogan wasn't just a man. He was and always will be a movement. A tribute to Hulk Hogan. The Casket Procession is a powerful, emotional tribute imagining the funeral of professional wrestling icon Hulk Hogan. Draped in his signature red and yellow, Hogan's casket is carried down the aisle by legendary figures, The Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, and Ric Flair, each representing the weight of wrestling's golden era. The article reflects on Hogan's impact not just on wrestling, but on global pop culture. From his electrifying WrestleMania moments to inspiring generations with his message of strength and belief, Hogan is remembered as more than a man. He was a movement. The piece captures raw emotion from fans, fellow wrestlers, and Vince McMahon, highlighting how deeply Hogan shaped lives and the industry itself. As the final bell tolls, the world says goodbye to an icon. But the spirit of Hulkamania lives on, etched into the memories of millions who grew up watching, believing, and dreaming.